So I thought I would actually post a video. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. This is a 2010 Toyota Camry. And I refinished the rocker panels on this vehicle just because they were in rough shape from, an individual grinding whatever they grind on them. So I figured what I'd do is I'd show you the locations and one clip that you may have difficulty with. We're just going to clean up with a rag the under portion of the actual body of the car, which is the part that the rocker panel covers anyway. We're going to clean it up just because I don't like the way it looks, but I figured while in doing that, I could show you the locations of all the clips and screws and whatever that you may need to take out if for some reason you ever want to refinish the rocker panels yourself. So let's get into it. So first thing what you're going to want to go ahead and do is jack up the whole side of the vehicle. I'm actually going to take off both the front and rear wheel. You can see that on this vehicle, I've got the jack stand contacting a solid portion of the suspension there and a solid section of the frame right there. Always use jack stands and then give the car like a rough rock, you know what I mean? And make sure those jack stands will settle into place because you're partially going to be underneath this car, so with the wheels off. Use a 21 millimeter to go ahead and take those lug nuts off. I usually leave one lug nut on, it's just a habit. That way when you whack the wheel, it'll stay on. If you don't have a tray, just throw your lug nuts right back on. Just like a single spin. Now you don't necessarily have to take the wheel off or the wheels off, but that's what I chose to do just to show you it's easier being able to get in and show you these fasteners that I'm using with the wheels off, but you don't have to. There are tools that you can use that actually get into these areas. Right here. So this is also another nice set that I've got of, they call them picks and like trim removal toolkit, and this thing is great because it gives you a ton of variety of different types of pry bars and picks and ways to take off either interior trim, and sometimes you can use it for exterior trim. And it's designed from a non-marring material so that you're not causing any damage. So that was kind of like a quick little add-on. It also doesn't necessarily mean that your vehicle is going to be the exact same, but I'm going to show you as far as what I'm concerned on this side of the vehicle, which is actually the driver's side. I'm going to put this back together the way it should be with the appropriate clips. So I'll show you. So upon taking this off, what you're going to need is some type of a pry tool, such as this. I'll leave a link in the description for what they are. A Phillips screwdriver and a 10 millimeter ratchet. Now I'll show you the different types of fasteners that you're going to come across. This would actually be the way that I would say to take this panel off. You got 2 Phillips screws. So that one Phillips screw goes right there, which is basically, if you look, it's 2 holes over. But you'll see it on the panel. When you look on the panel, you'll see that there's a hole there, and there's a hole there. And the way you see those is when you open up the door. So these Phillips screws go into those holes right there. Then you're going to have this style of clip, which is the one that's going to probably give you the hardest time because of the way this fastener goes in. It pushes in, it goes through that rocker panel trim piece and then through the body, and a screw like this actually screws in that section right there. And that's what keeps everything tight. And that's on the front, inside the wheel well, right in this position right here. So when you look at, this is the bottom edge of the front fender on the driver's side. That square hole right there, that's where that fastener goes, and it goes through that portion of the rocker panel. Then you can see underneath there are holes as well, and there's 8 holes or 8 fasteners. And when you look at the underneath, portion of this rocker panel, you can see right there that on each one of these flaps there's holes, and there's 8 of them. And those 8 holes take this style of push clip or push pin. And you can see what happens is this particular style, so the way this particular style works is you get a little pry tool like this and you wedge it in between, and then you pry on it, and what happens is the fastener opens up, which releases these little push style clips right here. And then obviously when you put the panel back on and you push this panel in through both holes, which is going through the plastic body panel and the metal part of the body of the car. So when you push that in, then you're going to push back on that, and you see how it pushes or flares those little tabs out. So there's 8 of this style push clip or push pin. Then there's this style of body clip right here. And for this one, there's 8 positions as well. And I took this one out just to show you how they go in, because sometimes they stay or get hung up on the body of the car. They don't actually pop out of the body. Sometimes they stay here and sometimes they don't. So you can see what you do is you just push down, and as far as it being, sliding back and forth, that's just for adjustment when you actually put the body panel on. And then 2 of these, which you can either use a Phillips or I'd rather use a 10mm socket. And for the front, here's where this goes on that body panel right there. And it actually, what happens is, the reason why it has like a flange on it is so when you put it through this hole, it actually screws into that clip that's right there. So this is what it looks like with the rocker panel off. So there's that upper one I was telling you about, which is for that clip right there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So that was just kind of showing you or telling you where the fasteners are, what types of clips, what types of screws, bolts, nuts, whatever are used in keeping this rocker panel on a 2010 Toyota Camry. And I'm sure what you have to do is just obviously look over the vehicle. If something's not coming off, there is a certain amount of pryability that a panel has or a trim piece has before you start to break it. And sometimes what it is it's experience that tells you how much force that you need to apply to a body panel in order to pop it off without breaking. But it is possible to break these panels or these, portions of panel material where the clips go into. It's part of the game, or it's part of the hazards of working on your own vehicle, is that if you're not familiar with this style or this type of panel or clip or vehicle, you can break stuff. And to be honest with you, this one right here was the hard one for me, because the way this was installed, I could only get to half of the clip, so you have to kind of rock it to get it out. So you push in one side of that clip right there with a screwdriver. You can see you push it in, and you can kind of rock it out and then slip it out, if that makes any sense. Just don't be afraid. Do it, but know that there is the possibility that you're going to break stuff. That's why they have people that, you know, work in body shops, and, you know, if they break a clip or whatever, they obviously, you know, they're going to have like master clips. They're going to have like this whole package of just every body clip probably imaginable for every car out there, and they're just going to, you know, pop a clip in place. And that's why sometimes, like on this vehicle, what I found was that on the driver's side, it's either the driver or passenger side, I can't remember right now, but on one side, clips were missing, and it could have been from an impact or whatever that popped the clips, or maybe somebody jacked it up the wrong way and it broke the clips off or something. I have no idea, but when I put this car back together, I have one of those master kits, and I'm going to replace the body clips that are missing on this vehicle on that passenger side, because what I'm doing is I'm showing you on this driver's side complete front to back. So this one's going to get every body clip that it's supposed to have. This is kind of like a classic example of how these clips can pop and sometimes stay in the panel. So you can see one, actually, here we go. So right there on that clip right there, can you see it? Focus. Where is it? Right there. So that clip right there actually stayed in the body, where this one didn't, or this one didn't, this one didn't, this one didn't, and then on the passenger side rear door, you can see those two body clips and that one stayed in place. So there's really no rhyme or reason. It's just dependent upon which side of the clip is, I guess, stronger on its holding power. So I don't know where this is going to edit into the footage, but I said I wasn't going to show you, or I said that I couldn't show you or something. I don't know. So I guess while I'm here, what I did is I switched over to the GoPro, put on that wide view just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at putting this panel on. So open up both the driver's and passenger door, just so you can gain access and you're not scuffing anything. And then obviously just take your rocker panel and then very carefully just kind of place it in place. And you're going to see that what you're going to want to do is you can use this like section kind of like as your guide. So you know that that hole right there is going right there. And the same thing on that back side right down there, if you can see that. But when you look at this panel, you can see how these clips, these little push pins, go into these holes for the body of the vehicle. Now when you do this, you want to make sure also that you remember that this portion right here is actually going underneath this section right here. I'm not sure if you can see that. So what I'm trying to say is that that portion of the body clip, see how there's a clip right there? That piece right there is actually going to be above this section here, so that the bolt can actually go through and attach into that. And then obviously this section right here is going to be forward of this panel, or forward of this like inner splash guard. So let's see if this works. So just carefully support your panel, bring it up into place. Making sure you rest that portion on top, and the same thing on that back side, portion on top. And you can see it kind of just like goes into place. And what you want to do is just make sure that these clips kind of go into those holes all the way across. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th I can't see from here. But I'm going to work my way from the front to the back just because this is where I am. And it's as easy as just pushing in. You hear them all just kind of pop in. And go to the back. So you want to line that clip up into there, to that hole there. Make sure these ones are lined in. Give it a pop in. Give it a pop in. Done. And then just make sure that when you did that, like I was saying, you want to make sure that you rested, it's hard doing this camera. You want to make sure that this this little splash guard right here was underneath, because you're going to be putting a screw or a bolt, that 10 millimeter through there, into that piece that's right there. You can see that right there. And then this screw right here is going to go into that section of the body. These screws right here, one's going to go right there. So why don't we just do that now? Nice. And then because we're right here, why don't we go ahead and do this one. And then go ahead and grab this 10 millimeter screw. And that goes in right there. Now this hole right here, that doesn't get anything because that's a drain hole. So don't plug that up. And then you can see right here underneath, I think you can see, that's where this style of clip goes into. And I might as well, while I'm right here, I might as well just show you how you do that. So you want to make sure it's in its pulled out position, and then get a light in here just to illuminate a little bit better. Hope. Does that light up better? Can you tell if this fits in the right spot? Alright, so we're going after that hole right there with this clip. Just make sure it's in that pulled out position, and you push it up into place like it's settled like that. See how that's settled into the body? And then push up on the panel and just push in on the clip on that little pin, and then it's done. And then you just got 7 more. Just switching screwdrivers to a wider Phillips blade. And you're not putting these on with Arnold Schwarzenegger strength, so it's just holding on a panel. It's just holding it in place. And that looks nice. All those clips are in there nice. Boy, doesn't that look good. That look nice. So now what you want to do is, you can see, let's grab the light. So you can see right there, you can see a part of the square. So as you push this panel in, you can see it lines up with that little square piece. And what you want to do is go ahead and take this little clip and push it in. You want to kind of orient it in a way that it's easier to, if for some reason you ever had to get back at this clip. So I'm pushing it up and down, and you take that screw, put that screw in position, and that one's in. Then grab that last 10 millimeter bolt, nut, screw, whatever you want to call it. You want to make sure that this is on that outside portion. And as you're putting things together, so you want to line things up. Like that. So just get it started into place. And again, it's not like we're not using Arnold Schwarzenegger strength here. It's just kind of, you know, pushing things back together. And then you want to go ahead and install the rest of these little clips. And those are those push style. So make sure they're in that out position. Push in on it. 1. 2. Push in. 3. Push in. 4. 5. Done. So there's a rocker panel back in place, all refinished, looking beautiful. No more scrapes and black marks like it had from being grinded on something. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe it down now, because now I'm done. Wipe it down with a nice cloth and we're good to go. And this is that Harbor Freight welding torch light that I keep talking about. I am going to do a review on this thing. This is kind of like an extended long-term review on this Braun light. But man, I'll tell you, I literally use this all the time now. And I'll also explain a way to get around the charging issue that they talk about with this light. And the other thing that I'm trying to figure out is whether or not if this light actually charges while it's on. I actually believe it does. So, but anyways, so while you're in the front, or while you've got the wheels off, you know, I mean, just because. While you've got the wheels off, obviously you can see on the back side, we already did the brakes fully on this car for the rear. But while you've got the brakes off, or while you've got the wheels off, why don't you go ahead and check the brakes? I already checked the brakes on this one, obviously. And they're in great shape. So we're going to be good to go for a number of miles of use for this 2010 Toyota Camry. So let's buzz the wheels back on and take it off its stand and get it ready for the customer. What's nice about the way the car is positioned right now, I don't have to do my typical throw a bolt on the top because we're angled. I'm using an Astro torque stick. This is an 80 foot-pound. So that's it for this episode of What's Up Guy Garage. It was just basically showing you how to, well, showing you how to put on the rocker panel. I didn't show you how to take it off. Maybe that's counterintuitive. I don't know. But it's showing you positions of the fasteners, what type of clips and fasteners that are used to secure this panel in place. It's really easy. Don't rip at it. Use pry tools like the right things. A lot of times you can grab it with your fingers. Once you take those two screws out, like take that screw out that's right there, you'll see that it kind of releases away. So what you can do is you can kind of pry your fingers in there. You'll see that the panel does open up a little bit, gets a little loose, and then you just kind of pop it. And all the clips should pop out fairly easily, so just don't be scared. I mean, if your rocker panels are looking horrible, just take them off. Either go to a auto parts store and get the correct paint code for your car, like I did, in a sense, for this vehicle. And don't forget your clear, and make sure you prep your body panels. There's tons of videos online. There's a guy, name of his channel is Joe Daddy's Garage. He's got tons of tips and tricks, and this guy's amazing, so just go check out his stuff. I'm going to be doing a toolbox tour on this bad boy at some point, and then a toolbox tour on this bad boy right here, US General. You can see it's definitely getting some good use. And yeah, that's it. So hope you enjoyed this quick little episode from What's Up Guy Garage. I don't know if it's of any use, but at least now you know where the clips and little screws and whatever are for the rocker panels of a 2010 Toyota Camry. Thanks for watching. Yeah. 10 minute, then go ahead and grab this 10 minute autofocus.